Welcome to our lesson. Today we'll be looking at circles and when the vertex of an angle is on the outside of that circle. So today's objective is we will be able to find the measure of an angle that is on the exterior of a circle or outside, and we'll also be able to find the measure of the arcs created by that angle. So here's our theorem for the day. If an angle is on the outside of the circle, then the measure of the angle formed is half the difference of the measure of the intercepted arcs. But let's just simplify that down a little bit. So in the simplest terms, the angle is half the outside minus the inside arc, okay? Or this red one minus the blue one. Or if you don't like the fractions, you can say twice the angle. So 2 times my angle equals the outside minus the inside arc. Again, the red minus the blue. The bigger one, subtract the smaller one. So let's look at some problems. So we want to solve for x. To solve for x, we know 2 times my angle equals outside minus inside. So let's find and identify those outside and inside arcs first. The inside arc is the arc that's formed by the sides of our angle that's closest to the angle. So this arc here is our inside arc. And the outside arc is the arc formed by the sides of the angle that's furthest away. So this here is our outside arc. So what we're going to do is plug in these values. So 2x, because our angle is the measure x, equals, outside measure is 178, subtract the inside measure, 76. So I'll go ahead, combine like terms, and simplify. 178 minus 76 is 102, and then divide each side by 2. So x equals 51 degrees, and that would be the measure of that angle. Let's look at another problem. So here we're solving for an arc. Okay? 2 times the angle equals the outside minus inside. So identify your arcs first. Here's my inside arc, the one that's closest to the angle, and here's my outside arc. Okay? The arc furthest away from the angle. Now start plugging in the values. 2 times my angle. My angle is 30 degrees, so 2 times 30 equals, outside arc is A, minus my inside arc, 44. So we're going to go ahead and solve for A. 2 times 30 is 60. Add 44 to each side. So the measure of this arc would be 104 degrees. Okay, it's your turn to try. So remember the formula. 2 times the angle equals outside minus inside. All right, hit pause, solve for x. All right, first thing you need to do is identify your arcs. So here's my inside arc, the one that's closer to the angle. And here's my outside arc, the one farthest from the angle. So now I'll go ahead and start plugging in the values. 2 times 29 equals outside 114 minus the inside x. 2 times 29 is 58. And then we're going to subtract 114 from each side. So negative 56 equals negative x. Divide by negative 1. 56 equals x. So if you didn't get x equals 56, make sure you hit rewind and revisit this problem so that you can find where the error was so you can learn from that mistake. All right, but then we have these problems. So these type of problems only give us one angle measure. But we know that it's 2 times the angle equals outside minus inside. Okay? That's 3 variables, the angle, the outside, and the inside. In order to solve this, we need to have 2 of those variables known. So this has a little bit of information hidden. First off, let's start off with identifying our inside and outside arcs. So here's our inside arc, the one closest to our angle. And then here's our outside arc, the one furthest from. The only thing we know is that the outside arc is 247 degrees. However, once you've colored your inside and outside arcs, you can see that it makes the entire circle. That means that my inside and my outside arcs combined are going to equal 360 degrees. So 247 plus my inside that we don't know yet equals a full circle, 360 degrees. So to solve for the inside arc, all we need to do is subtract 247. So the inside equals 113 degrees. And now we have enough information to solve for our angle measure. So 2x equals 247, the outside, minus 113, the inside. So 2x equals 134 when you do that subtraction. Then divide each side by 2. X equals 67 degrees. So on that problem, the only thing you got to make sure you recognize is how the outside and the inside arcs equal 360 and do that quick little bit of subtraction to find the other arc. All right, let's look at some problems that have some algebra in them. So now instead of having just x as what we're finding, we have an algebraic expression. But nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same process we've been using. So 2 times the angle equals the outside minus the inside. So just like every other time, we're going to identify our outside and inside arcs. Inside is closest to the angle, and outside is the further one. But I notice I don't have a measure for that outside arc. But again, here we have that full circle colored. So 125 plus the outside is going to give me that full circle, 360 degrees. So I simply subtract 125 from each side, and I find my outside arc is 235 degrees. So I'll stick that right here, 235. And now I'm all set to start plugging in some values. My angle is 4x plus 15. So I just plug that in. Equals the outside 235 minus the inside 125. And now we're solving for x. Distribute the 2. $235 minus 125 is 110. Solving for x, subtract 30 from each side. So 8x equals 80, and then divide by 8. So x equals 10. Our last problem here. Okay. I want you guys to go ahead and set this up. 2 times the angle equals outside minus inside. So take a moment, hit pause if you need to, fill that in. Fill in the angle, the outside, and the inside. All right, so first thing we're doing always is you need to find the inside and the outside arcs. Inside arc is the one closest to the angle, and then the outside arc is the one farthest from the angle. So I have those identified. Now I just plug them in. 2 times 58 equals, outside is 190 degrees minus the inside 10x plus 4. And yes, we need to put those parentheses around 10x plus 4 because we are subtracting the whole inside piece of the arc. So now, because of those parentheses, we can see that we need to distribute that minus sign. So distribute this minus sign here. 2 times 58 is 116 equals 190 minus 10x minus 4. And now we can continue on with solving. 116 equals 186 minus 10x. Subtract 186 from each side. Negative 70 equals negative 10x. And then divide by negative 10. So 7 equals x. But anytime you've got an algebraic expression, especially on the inside arc, you need those parentheses and you have to distribute that negative sign. And that brings us to the end of our lesson today. So just remember that the angle is 1/2 the outside minus the inside arcs. Or as we did in this video, 2 times the angle equals the outside minus the inside. Watch out when you have two tangents, so a problem that looks like this diagram here, because remember the two arcs add up to equal 360. So the red plus the blue equals 360, and that's how you're going to find that missing arc you're looking for. And don't forget, watch out for those negatives so you're distributing them. And that's all for this lesson.